Hi, and welcome to my first real segment. So, I'm just gonna doobly this. Da da da. Now, there we go. Perfect. All right, so we are going to react to some right-wing bullshit today. And, all right, there's no one in chat. If there's anyone in chat, I would ask them if we want to watch some Ben Shapiro, some OAN, some Newsmax. I don't know. Newsmax sounds like something good to start with. Well, I'll start with some Newsmax. Then we'll go from there. Alright. A lot of this is just going to be bullshit. So let's see what's actually worth reacting to. Yeah, all this is just about China, and like, I'm gonna be real. I don't care too much about China. Now, like the fight for global dominance between China and the U.S., I really don't care. Like, I'd prefer that if they could both lose and nobody win, that would be great. That's something I'd root for. But yeah, I don't have much of a dog in that fight. I don't see China as I don't think the workers are directly in control of the workplaces in China. I think the Chinese workplaces are managed top down, similarly to workplaces in the U.S. So, yeah. Now, all right, maybe this is too far, right? Like, I don't. All right, let's see this. Abraham Lincoln is canceled.
Hey, I just read an unbelievable article in the Epic Times. Take a look. It's an investigation into the mysterious origin.
No.
Those people were also there because they wanted to protest the taking down of a statue, Robert E. Lee. So, excuse me.
Okay, I really don't care. Like, I'm happy that a statue of Robert E. Lee got taken down. Robert E. Lee was pretty shitty.
And you take a look at some of the groups and you see, and you know it if you were honest reporters, which in many cases you're not, but many of those people were there.
I'm waiting for him to, like, make a point.
To protest the taking down of the statue of Robert E. Lee. So
it's people protesting the taking down of the Robert E. Lee statue. So, the bad guys. I get it.
this week it's Robert E. Lee. I noticed that Stonewall Jackson's coming down. I wonder, is it George Washington next week?
Let's hope.
And is it Thomas Jefferson the week after? You know, you really do have to ask yourself, where does it stop?
It stops when we no longer celebrate figures who are not super worthy of celebration, considering the other things they did. Like, Washington owned slaves. That was bad. I think it's fairly non-controversial to say, let's take down every statue of a slave owner. Like, I don't care how old a statue is. We could put it in a museum. let's put it in a museum to commemorate history. Why do we need them? Why do we need to commemorate them? Why do we need to celebrate people who, in this day and age, don't really deserve to be celebrated?
So that was President Trump speaking to reporters back in 2017. He was right, by the way. George Washington statues have been taken down. Then he was talking about Charlottesville and the hypocrisy of taking...
That's how he talked about Charlottesville? Damn. I thought it was just a generic right-wing protest. Holy shit. Charlottesville? The Nazi March? Damn.
Down statues of famous leaders throughout history. And what he said is still relevant today in 2020, 3 years later, as San Francisco's Abraham Lincoln High School is considering being renamed by a school committee that claims the former president did not demonstrate that Black Lives Matter. Joining me now to talk about that, Brandon Straka, the founder of...
All right, so they're changing the name of Abraham Lincoln High School because Abraham Lincoln wasn't in favor of Black lives enough. All right. Abraham Lincoln, although as I remember, is pretty fucking based though. Like he wasn't perfect. No one in time is perfect, but he was pen pals with Marx. Like Abraham Lincoln talked about labor and how labor is what generates and creates capital. Like this is pretty great stuff. So yeah, but he wasn't like not racist. He was still racist. Like he still talked about how like black people and white people were fundamentally different. And he's still within the time. So I guess, yeah. I'm pretty sure that in like 100 years, people from our current time period are going to get canceled because we weren't vegans or because we had pets. Yeah. Like I think after we have rights movements for all the people, I think eventually we're going on to animals. I don't know. Maybe we'll have a workplace labor revolution. Who's to say? Let's see this though.
The walkaway campaign, and Jennifer Nassour, former chairwoman of the Massachusetts Republican Party and a Republican strategist. Good morning to both of you. President Trump just tweeted in reaction to hearing this news saying, quote, "So rude and unfair. When will people make a stand?" There's the president's tweet right there. Jennifer, I was under the impression that Abraham Lincoln did quite a bit to make sure that slavery was abolished, and then he was shot and killed.
Well, and yeah. Did he? There were times when he said that he cared more about keeping the Union together than he did about slavery. The Civil War was, in fact, about slavery. And this is I think this is fucking dumb. This whole thing, like they're making my hot take is that I'm not on either side. Like I think it's kind of dumb to cancel Lincoln, but it's also kind of dumb to like freak out about Lincoln getting canceled. Like what does a school changing their name have to do with you? Like what does it matter that the people at a school decide, you know what, we want to change our name? Like who are you to tell the people at the school who go to the school, who are you to tell them that that they want to change the name and that they shouldn't be allowed to change their name, or you're not happy about them changing their name? Why do you give a shit? Like they can change their school's name if they don't like it. Yeah. All right, let's find a Benny boy. Let's find some Ben. 2 million subscribers.
Alrighty, welcome. In just 1 second, we're going to be analyzing a wonderful Hanukkah video. It's Hanukkah.
Hanukkah has just ended. This video's from 6 days ago. Hanukkah was going on 6 days ago. And I just put my menorah away. If you can see, I'm a member of the tribe as well, Ben. So before you start telling all these idiots about what Hanukkah really is, let me see if you know what you're talking about.
It's time to analyze a deeply meaningful, spiritual video about the meaning of Hanukkah from Kamala Harris and her husband, Douglas Emhoff. By the way, this video is sponsored by Ring. And this is a video of Douglas Emhoff and Kamala Harris talking about Hanukkah and the meaning of Hanukkah. Now, let's just be straight about this. Hanukkah has been watered down by the American Jewish community into basically nothingness. It's basically...
Okay, there's a lot going on. So, as I understand, Kamala Harris, I believe, married a Jew. So this isn't just like them doing Hanukkah because they feel like it. Like, I'm pretty sure the household actually does celebrate Hanukkah. So, yeah, they're gonna talk about Hanukkah. Like, what are you gonna do about it? And Hanukkah being watered down? Dude, Hanukkah is watered down from a story that would terrify the conservatives. Like, Hanukkah, if you don't know, Hanukkah is a story about rebellion. It's a story about violence. It's about the Jews in the Holy Land pushing back and being terrorists against the invading Greeks. The Greeks tried to conquer Judea, and the Jews fought against them. Like, it was a war, I'm pretty sure. Like, it was a substantial conflict. The Maccabees fighting the Greeks. So it's about a native people who are rising up and violently pushing against an oppressor, an oppressive group that's coming in and conquering their land. Like, I completely support oppressed people violently resisting the oppression they face. So let's see what Benny Boy has to say about it.
basically supposed to be low-rent Christmas. You light up some lights, everybody's happy, you sing some songs about a dreidel, and then you give some presents. That is not what Hanukkah is about at all. I mean, if you actually read the history of Hanukkah, like read the books of Maccabees, for example, and it is about a bloody war between Jews who wish to practice their religion, free of the Hellenizing influence of Greece, and a group of Hellenized Jews who wish to act in concert with the Greeks to shut down religious practice. In other words, in many ways, it is a battle between religion and paganism and secularism. That is...
All right, to call the Greeks, well, they are pagan, but I don't think more gods makes it more secular. I think the more gods there are, the less secular. Like, that makes more sense to me. But yeah, the current celebration of Hanukkah is basically just Jewish Christmas. Like, Hanukkah is a very minor Jewish holiday. The only reason it's a big deal is because it happens to fall around the time of Christmas. But the 8 days, that's not like milking it. 8 days is very much part of the Hanukkah tradition. It's that there was the Greeks had destroyed all the oil, and in the holy temple there is an eternal light that is like, it's not supposed to go out. Like, it's supposed to be a light that stays on, and it represents God and how God is like on forever or whatever. And so the Greeks destroyed all the oil, and then the Jews only had enough oil to last like one day. And in order to make new oil from, I don't know, I guess the olives maybe from the area or whatever it is, it would take 8 days to get more oil. And somehow the oil lasted for 8 days. And that's the miracle, that the oil that was only supposed to last one day lasted a whole 8 days. I'm on a Hanukkah tangent.
That is kind of what Hanukkah comes down to. The fact that that has somehow been, wrapped up into a ball by American sources into, well, basically it's just about you light up some lights and it's about social justice. It's not any of these things. Okay, so there is some.
Oh, it's about social justice. It's about making the world a better place and doing your part to help improve the society that we all live in, because we live in a society, and the point of living in a society is to make life easier and to make life better. So let's do that. Let's make life better. Let's make it easier. Ben, why don't we just fucking build a society and work towards it? That's what it means to be human. Improving the human experience. Children are supposed to live easier lives than their parents. That's the point. All right. Oh, but the only reason the modern Hanukkah message is diluted is because the Christmas message is diluted. And Hanukkah being like the Jewish alternative winter celebration, they both got caught up and swept up by capitalism. So capitalism turned the Christian tradition of Christmas that was initially the pagan traditions of Christmas is an amalgamation of a bunch of holidays. Actually, it's not just Yule. It's Yule, and in Rome, it was Saturnalia. So Saturnalia was the holiday to the Roman god Saturn. So in Greek, Saturn was Uranus, the sky god. No, it was Kronos. It was Kronos, the Titan who ate his kids, who ate Zeus, and that's not great. So Kronos does not have a great reputation in the Greek pantheon. But Saturn is like better. Like I don't know. I guess they don't have that part. Like I guess Saturn didn't eat his kids and Kronos did. I don't know. But Saturn was like a pretty important figure in Roman tradition, and so the holiday to Saturn in winter was it was a happy holiday. Slaves and masters would trade places for a day, which is pretty neat. And it was just an all-around cool thing. And so in order to convince when who was it? Was it Constantine who converted to Christianity and converted the Roman Empire? Saturnalia was turned into Christmas. And now in modern times, Christmas is a holiday based on capitalist consumerism, where you are encouraged to spend as much money as possible on all sorts of stuff for everyone. And like, yeah, it's giving, and that's good, but it's still like, hey, and you are socially obligated to spend massive amounts of money and give massive amounts of money to these corporations who profit tremendously. So, yeah, Hanukkah like kind of got wrapped up in the same capitalist consumerism where it's like Hanukkah is now I guess, like a presents-based. It's a presents and fried food holiday. That's what Hanukkah is. We have latkes, and in Israel they have sufganiyot, jelly donuts. And, yeah, that's what that whole thing is about.
Something that Democrats like to do when it comes to various members of the
I forgot I was responding to Ben Shapiro. I more like to use them as jumping off points to go on tangents.
intersectional community. And that is, they find one of their friends who's a member of the intersectional community, and then they bring him forth to show that they have special solidarity with that community. So there are not a lot of high-profile people in the Biden team who are Jewish. Really, not a lot. And so Kamala Harris's husband happens to be ethnically Jewish. I don't think that he's religiously Jewish. And
All right, fuck off. Cultural Jews are just as Jewish as religious Jews. You don't have to wear a kippah to be a Jew. You don't have to go to temple often to be a Jew. To be a Jew, the most important thing is to not believe in that Jesus is the Son of God. Like, that's the big one. And the second thing is a little more nebulous, is to consider yourself as part of the Jewish community. Now, Judaism is less about belief, and it's more about a people. It's about a community. It's about a group of individuals who are connected to one another. And I don't know, I'm pretty sure Ben would have some firm disagreements with that.
the reason I say I don't think that he's religiously Jewish beyond, like, in any serious sense, like beyond maybe going to shul once a year or something, is because one of the chief tenets.
If you go once a year, every year, you're a fucking Jew. Like, no question about it. Like, honestly, I haven't been to shul in probably like 2 years, but I mean, I think the last time I went to shul was at the Western Wall in Jerusalem. I went on a birthright trip last winter. So I spent New Year's last year in Israel. It was neat. It was interesting being fed constant military and nationalistic propaganda. It was a time. And like they almost worked. I started thinking about things differently and started thinking, maybe there's something to this. And then it took a little bit before I'm like, no, fuck, they almost had me. No, this is not the way. Nationalism is never the way. All right. I've said everything I need to about Hanukkah and Judaism, Ben. I'm not going to listen to the other 10 minutes of your video. Jesus. All right. I would say that was a successful first segment. Now, if you notice, there's no animation. There's not going to be really animations. It's just gonna cut and start, cause I am not skilled at a lot of things. But if you are, if you're skilled at making intros and outros and animating stuff, I'll pay you. Just hit me up. All right, and that about ends the first segment.